And part of the sound of Earthworks is, it is an attractive sound. It is designed to be attractive as opposed to repellent.
Right.
I mean, there are groups that will repel you deliberately so. You know, Archie Shepp in his heyday, or King Crimson when it was really going. You know, they can be repellent orally, just up here in the ears. Earthworks is not like that at all. It's inviting you into it. Most of the lead sounds are warm, brass, or wooden.
Right.
Most of the drum sounds are fairly delicate, although we can get noisy. But it's an inviting kind of thing, an airy, inviting sound, which is deliberately constructed. Yeah.
You made a really interesting comment. We were in the car earlier. You were saying that with all the bands and all the projects and things you've done, you tend to outgrow groups. You just tend to outgrow a situation. I mean, you look at the Rolling Stones, or look at the Kinks, or, you know, the Who keeps coming back. You know, they break up, they come back, and this and this. But you were very honest in saying that, you know, you get to the point where you outgrow a situation, you don't feel the need to go back to it, as you mentioned with Patrick Moraz.
Yeah, that's generally the case. Yeah, you put something together as a vehicle for your ideas at that time.
And if it doesn't apply anymore, it's
well, yeah, pretty much. That's it. And you work through that series of ideas. Let's say with my own band, I was very keen on writing, very keen on the this is the Bruford band with Alan Holdsworth and Jeff Berlin. Very keen on the clanging sound of brilliant rototoms. Right. Very keen on using Alan, introducing him to America as well. Very keen on odd meters. It's very much an odd meter group that was as a way of playing the drums. And you work through that, and then you go on to another thing. And after a while, you think, well, maybe this whole combination of horns and keyboards and upright bass would be an interesting way to go. And you do that. People grow naturally through these things, as musicians do.
Hi, we're here with Django Bates from Earthworks. Hello, it's nice to see you. We're going to be doing what we just did with Bill. We're going to have some information about some of his keyboards. He's keyboard player and horn player for Earthworks. This is the most interesting looking horn. It looks like an antique.
Yeah, I should start with this. It's the simplest out of all this stuff.
What do we call this?
Well, in England it seems to be called tenor horn, and out here I've heard it called alto horn, and some guy described it as a peck horn. And told me it's because in the brass bands it just goes peck, 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 and just plays the offbeats all the time. So that's a good name for it.
So this is an actual piece of equipment that is never hooked up to any electronics, and we kind of use it as...
Not yet. I suppose I could get around to that, but it would just mean it would get complicated like everything else.
Is it actually an antique? I mean, is this considerably old?
It just looks very old. The lacquer's come off it for some reason, and I think I should leave it like this. It sounds quite good without it.
It looks wonderful. Yeah. Of course, you don't want to alter it by...
I don't want to take any risks. Yeah,
I don't blame you. Perhaps you could do a few notes on it.
And it's in E flat, and it's sort of somewhere in between flugel and euphonium, whatever. It's got a good range on it as well. It goes from... Later on tonight it'll go a lot higher when I'm warmed up.
Almost like a mixture between a tuba and a flugelhorn, sort of?
Yeah,
you know?
somewhere in there.
It's pretty
sort
amazing.
Of brass bands of England use them.
This is primarily the horn that you would play in Earthworks, or...?
Definitely, yeah. I started on trumpet, but I just found it very hard to get any individual sound out of the trumpet.
And certainly I've never seen any musicians playing this before, so you're probably all by yourself.
Good. No competition.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And as far as the keyboards go, we have your basic synthesizer setup and sampler over here. Do you ever take any, for example, any of the sounds from any other horns and things and incorporate them into the keyboard banks that we have?
I've got one sampler, and that's that's the N-Sonic, and I have sampled not horns so much. I've sampled me hitting a bell and singing a note, which came out quite nicely. That was quite useful.
That's wonderful. Kids in England that are getting involved in jazz now, a lot of this equipment, a lot of the equipment that Earthworks uses is expensive. It's not the type of equipment that is as easy to get as a trumpet or a saxophone or an acoustic bass or whatever. And Earthworks really seems to be alone in being able to incorporate electronics into what is essentially jazz. Do you feel that if the kids did have more access, money-wise or whatever, to this type of equipment, that the state of British jazz would lean a little more towards electronics, or do you think that they would stay away from it and want to stay more traditional?
I think it's not so much to do with gear as just to do with what they listen to and what they want to reproduce, or what they want to get away from, depending on the way they feel about music, whether they want to recreate something or get something new. I mean, I got into this by accident. Someone kept on nagging me to get the synthesizer because I was just playing Fender Rhodes on this gig, and I accidentally got this, which is like everyone